my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. Today is Festival and Fireworks. I want to tell you the rest of how I got the layout for the critter quilt, quilt number 1 of the critter quilts, because that has to come down off the wall. So I'm going to do a little section of it, talk about the process of how I'm going to approach it. And we'll do that first because it's still on the wall. So I have to take it all down before I can put the festival and fireworks blocks up there. Also, today is Urban Beekeeper Day. So I thought this would be a really cool day to share quilts that have bees on it. Bees, the shape of them, like we've got the one that came in the mail for me, for the critters. So you've got, the physical like blocks of bees, or there's tons of absolutely gorgeous bee fabric, beekeeper fabric, honeybee fabric. And so I know a lot of you have made quilts. A lot of them are black and yellow. So show those today. Show any quilts you have that have a bee theme. So that'll be super cool. Now before we get up to that, I wanted to tell you that I worked on my fruitcake stuff. Oh, got the ladder here. So remember the fruitcake that I showed you? So I have two blocks now, and I've gotten all of the ballerina pink cut. So here we go. There we go. So I have all of the pink cut. And now what I'm going to do is finish to get 20 blocks. So I also want another one of the pairs. I did all the mock-ups in the pairs, so I used all that up. So I need to take from the bigger piece that I bought. But I'm going to cut all of these up so that I have the 20 blocks all cut. So everything will be cut and ready to sew as I do other things, which is my new favorite thing is to always have some sort of repeat block that's easy so that I can make something as I'm sewing other things. Oops, I can leave this here. I don't need to move it. Now the critters. I went on the computer again because I thought you might still find it interesting to see how I finish out all of the placement and how I look at it and structure it and group them so that they're sewable, and think about the sizes. So let's first take a look at that clip. Right now I have the left side done, so I just kind of group it like this, and I put it back. Whoops, put it back. So there's rectangles, lots of rectangles. A lot of that will probably be different, just strips of fabric, except for these bigger groups. That's a 6-inch wide, so that could be a block. It could even be that house block could fit in there, but I don't really want the house block down there. So I don't know, I might find some other half square triangles, some things that can go in there. So what I want to do is fill in the rest of the strips for all of this, and then I will have my grid done. And the strips will be interesting because I can go like vertical to here. Remember, and I said take the bottom part. Oh, that's locked over there, so I've got put that back. So I've got this locked. So there we go. I can show you. So if this is being sewn, then this is the part up here that needs to be worked out. And there's some fairly big spaces again. So I'm going to do that, and then what I'll do is reduce this down to the size of a piece of paper so that I can print it, and then I will handwrite all of these sizes in so that I can transfer it over. I just find that process works better for me. And so now I just have to make some more squares and rectangles. What will be up here? So I want to come in. So if I want to leave that fish, do I want the fish out in the corner? Do you see it's at the corner of the quilt? If I left the fish at the corner of the quilt, that bee is probably not in a good spot. So because you have to construct this, it has to be a grid you can sew together. So this is 6 by 9. So again, they're big spaces, and on the wall it does not look like I have a 6-inch space there, but I have a 6-inch plus another 2-inch. So there's 8 inches between here and here, because on the wall I don't think I have these items pushed out as far. So give them a little bit of room so they're not too crammed in together. So that's one of the visual things you learn just from doing this. You learn how to work on things so that they visually look good, but that you can also construct them easily. So like, you know, does the bird look better like right on top of the toucan? Does the bird look better sort of balanced under the lobster, and the toucan can be offset? Like, I really need to have this here so that, there we go. So, okay, so like I could be grouping down here now, all of this. I could make that a group because that way they'll be sewn together. And what did that turn out to be? That is 3 inches wide. So I could do some half square triangles along here if I've got 3-inch finished ones. What's out there? That's a 4.5 inch. So you see, there's a lot of funky sizes that are not like, I don't have 4.5 inch blocks. This I've already grouped, so I was kind of moving it around. So do I want it here? Do I want it even with there? You know, so to group have fabric, do I want it down here and have a bigger space up there? Do I want to move the whale down some? The whale could move down. So that's the stuff that I'm going to do in this section. Well, I want to show you one more thing, because I've gone ahead and filled in bunches of this here. I now have this by a section. I have this as a section, and this is a section. So I'm working on the part here with the whale and the lobster. And in here, this bee could be brought down to be, it can be trimmed down. The actual block, physical block could be trimmed down, because I see where I'm stuck with this kind of little skinny spot. I could bring the bee all the way up. That would eliminate the skinny spot, but then it leaves a skinny spot up there. If I kind of have it in the middle, he could be, he's at a 9-inch, but he could actually probably go down to an 8-inch block. So what I'm going to do, just because I know I can fiddle with that, is I will just put my spacer in, which is like only a 1/2 inch, which is, you know, just really skinny. But I'm going to do that. That way I can decide if I want to trim the bee down. I'll take that all the way across. And some of these I could end up chunking this. This could be multiple pieces of fabric. This one here, I could make it multiple pieces. Doesn't have to be that big. Doesn't have to be one long strip. That's just so that I have something to work with. And then I can bring this here to what I need so that I can fill it all in. And then I need to write all the sizes down so that I know what I'm dealing with, and see if I can find half square triangles or squares or something that fills in. So these are not even. Do you see that? I move this over here. They're not even. So if I make this one a little bit smaller, which is 1 3/4, and then I put that there, that is 2 1/4. So I'm going to make that 2, move this over, and make that 2. So now they're nice sizes. 2-inch finish, which could be my checkerboard square, something like that. So here we go. This is the working sheet, and I will take this image and make it on a regular sheet of paper and print it off, and I'll show it to you. And this is what it looks like at this point. What I need to do is get all these sizes written down. And because the document, there are two documents. When I draw what you were watching, that is actually drawn in there full size. And so it is hard for me to then have this smaller image next to it. Think of this as, I mean, in the program it's like 65, and I need a little, 8.5 by 11 unit for this drawing. So there are two documents. And because I have done this for over 20 years, I found for me personally it's easier for me to print this, go into the full size, and then I'll just write down 2 by 3, or 2 by 20, whatever the sizes are of the rectangles. Because like I said, they will get maybe chunked down into pieces, into blocks, and I'm going to show you the concept of blocks so that you can see that with the puffin up here. The other thing is, yes, several people mentioned, which I did mention in my video as well, but I'll say it again, is you can do this with grid paper and then little pieces of paper. You just have a little piece of paper like that says, a square that says puffin on it, and then you have your grid and you move them all around. The programs, like you can do this in Electric Quilt, anything that you can, any software you might have that allows you to have a grid and you can move squares and rectangles on it. You can do it on the computer, which is much easier than doing it on paper, manually with little cutout pieces of paper, but that's also possible. So let's look up here. So I haven't moved them any. They're pretty much where they are. These two houses and some flying geese in between, those are not going to be quite there. I'm going to shove the one house up by the fish because I think it needs like a little fishing, like a little ice cabin. What are those called? Like when they fish on the ice, they put the little house on the ice when they do fishing that way. I thought that would be super cute to put next to the fish. But I am going to address the left side. That's what I'm going to do first, is sew all of those. So when I was showing you on the computer diagram that these are all grouped, well, not down here, minus the bottom part, the shark and Nessie the monster, they'll be their own, but from right above that up to the top of the puffin, that is what I'm going to sew first. It's a little easier to control having then one strip done, so if I take it up and put it back. And so looking at the puffin, let me get the other camera. I will be working to sew from right above the shark all the way to the top. And I'll start right now with the top and the side of the puffin because I have all of these 2-inch finished half square triangles. Now that is a 3-inch strip. So I will probably just put a strip on the outer side of this, and then I will sew these together and then fill in probably on either side with just some regular fabric. And so that is the unit that I'm going to sew right now and show it to you. So my design wall is fairly tall and I need to get the top of the puffin. I need to get down these fabrics that are up here, which are not the same size. So I will have to do some work on them. And then all of these 2-inch guys. And I have to add a few more to the 2-inch. So I've got this stack of 2-inch that you saw up there. And then I have a few more to add to it because I need to make it 20 inches. So I need, yeah, I think it's 20 that size is. So I'm going to sew those stacks and then do that strip on the outer side. I'll look at how I can do this top unit, and then I also have all these extra smaller parts. When I pulled out from the part center the other day on the video and looked at the, many things in there are bigger blocks, but there was enough of these small blue and whites, a lot of blue and whites, because I'm going to keep it all blue and white for all of this sashing. I don't know if I said that yet, but I think that will be. I'll look around to see if I have anything watery that looks kind of like beachy or watery or summery or nautical, something like that. But it has to be blue and white because I'm going to keep that really a clean look to what's on here for between the blocks. So even though I've got the red and a little bit of pink and yellow and the turquoise, I am going to keep all that background the same colors. That's way it'll be, I think, a lot more cohesive and hold together. So I will sew these up and then show you the puffin with a top and a side. After that, we'll do festivals and fireworks. Here's the strip all done up, and I could put it with I could put it with the dark against the puffin, or I could put the light against the puffin. I don't know. I'm kind of liking the dark right against the edge. And then I'm going to have to do I'll have to cut it 1.5 inch strip out here so that I can have it full out to the size. So actually when it goes up to the top there's a little spot here. And originally I went and got this pile of 2.5 inch squares that are in my lights, and I thought, well, I could just put anything here. I could just put a white one there, which would be fine. But then I did root around because I knew I had some of these. I'm pretty sure I had some of these dots. So there you go, perfect, right? Put the dot, and then out here I'll probably put a light, some sort of light, but probably not the dots. But who knows? Because it's so skinny, I might just go and get the dots, or I might do something like I could do this one here, this blossom. And so that's where I am with the puffin side. And now I have to figure out, I have to put that on and then figure out the top. So here he is with the side, the puffin with the side. Now I found this white with the little stars. Let me show you the whole piece of it there, because this is a nice one to use through the whole quilt. So if I put it in, I'm going to keep it out. I'm going to put it in several places through the quilt and use it up. So this is fantastic. So glad that I found that. Now I need to do across the top. So we're going to go to the other camera again and look at what I have going on there. Looking at what I drew here is kind of a funky size. Finished was 2 3/4 of an inch. So instead, because that's just a funky size, that means that I have to trim the blocks to 3 1/4, which I can do. That's not a big deal. But I thought, you know what? There's a strip down here. If I make this a little bit more narrow, so it's 2 1/2 finished, then this strip, which is narrow, it'll just be a 1/4 inch wider. It'll probably just be 1 or 2 fabrics across there. So now I have to trim to 3 inch. So these are the blocks that I have. I kind of loved putting these in the middle and then building either something like this on the outside and one over here. Let me pull back so you can see. So this would be kind of on the top, which doesn't fill it. I'll have to put fabric on the side. I'm going to look for, I actually spotted something up there. It's white with blue crabs. Here, look. White with blue crabs. See it right there? See? So I'm going to get that and use it on either side of this. But each one of these now has to be trimmed to 3. So that's pretty easy. I don't have a rotary cutter with me here, but I'll just take it so that the diagonal is along the center of the half square triangle, like along the seam, and then trim it off. So it'll be 3 inch. For the 1/4 square triangle, I will take my 3 inch, and it's going to trim it way down, but you know, I'm okay with that. I would like to use it up, and so I want the 3 inch to be at this point, at this point, at this point, and at that point. So they have to all match. You don't want to slide it here and trim it because it's off angle. Not up there, it's off angle. See how the difference is? Looking at that 3 inch, you're making the 3 inch. So I have to trim all 4 sides of those two. There we go. So there is where I will do it. So I am going to go ahead and sew this top row. So I have the top on. Here we go. Look at those little crabs. Aren't they cute? I'll show you the fabric here in a second. So this is the puffin section done. So what does that mean? Well, first let me show you the crabs. So this was something one of you sent me. So it is so darling. There is the name of it. It's a Michael Miller fabric. But aren't they cute? Look how cute they are. So definitely they're going to show up again in this one. Yeah, definitely. So now, what goes on? I need to take this down so we can talk festivals and fireworks. Plus, you know, I might have to have other things going on. So I can sew this now. I can work off my chart, and I will do this grouping down to the snake. So down to here. I can do all of this, and I can just put that section up on the wall. And then every so often, of course, I'm going to come on here, probably more often, because I'd like to keep moving with this. I don't want to stall it, so we're going to keep moving along with this quite a good pace. So I want to just do these sections at a time. This with all the sort of bigger stuff up here, I'll probably leave that section till the end. I'll probably do here, then down at the bottom, and then probably in where the whale is. I'll leave that far right for the end, up where the fish is at the top. There, the fish, the lobster, the piggy, the bee. That'll all be right toward, that'll be the last part. Let me take this all down, and then, wait, over on my critter page, I love to make quilts, there's a critter page, and I will put pictures of this up and replace the one that's there so that you can see the progress. You can go there to look at it. So let me put him up, take that picture, and then switch it out. Okay, before I end this, I have to tell you, sometimes I feel so put together. It's like, oh, I put a different necklace on, I had a different bracelet on, which I've just taken off. And as I was taking off, I realized, oh, no rings, no earrings. I'm like half put together. What's that? Here we are at the end with festivals and fireworks. Our block Wednesday for this week is going to be on the top and the bottom, one on the top and the bottom. And so we have the worksheet that goes along with the pattern from the Fat Quarter Shop's Triangle on a Roll. So we're doing just this block, and you'll make 2 of them. So they're cute. Love a star. Lots of stars in this quilt. So there we go. And I will put one on the top and one on the bottom row. So we will get those on there. I believe there's some sashing in between them. And I could actually, go ahead and put those together as I'm, sewing other things. I could go ahead and get those sewn up so that by the end I don't have a whole lot to do, because, having the whole middle done now, done, there you go. That's just awesome. I love that part. So today, when you share your block, tell me about a music that you've seen at a fair, maybe some special fireworks that you've seen. They're doing a lot of drone fireworks now, which are kind of cool because it's a totally different effect than the traditional fireworks. Now for me, and I tell you about this in here, but one year Greg and I were on vacation in New Mexico, and it turns out that it was during the New Mexico State Fair, and we got to see the Forrester sisters perform, which was very, very cool. It was kind of a quiet evening, so there weren't a lot of people that night that we were there. It must have been like maybe a weeknight that they were performing. It just was really, really great fun, and we had a good time at their state fair. I don't know, it just always sticks in my mind. I never forget that one. So you are going to be sewing those blocks. Here's the lighter purple one, which I will have at the top. At my website today will be a picture of all of them together, along with the critters all together. And I did go ahead, I had a bin available, so I wrote critters on there for this work block in progress, or quilt in progress. I also wanted to show you, before we wrap up, I went ahead and just put a highlighter as to the sections I'll be sewing. So I'll be working on this one first, and then the bottom, and then probably over here, and then the panda and that top right fish at the end. All right, my friend, I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.